The Study of Poetry by Mathew Arnold. The future of poetry is immense, because in poetry, while it's worthy of its high destinies, our race, as time goes on, will find an ever surer and surer stay. There is not a creed which is not shaken, not an accredited dogma which is not shown to be questionable, not an received tradition which doesn't threaten to dissolve. Our religion has materialized itself in the fact, in the supposed fact. It has attached its emotion to the fact, and now the fact is failing it. But for poetry, the idea is everything. The rest is a world of illusion, of divine illusion. Poetry attaches its emotion to the idea is the fact. The strongest part of our religion today is its unconscious poetry. More and more mankind will discover that we have to turn to poetry to interpret life for us, to console us, to sustain us. Without poetry, our science will appear incomplete, and most of what now passes with us for religion and philosophy will be replaced by poetry. Science, I say, will appear incomplete without it. For finely and truly does Wordsworth call poetry the impassioned expression which is in the countenance of all science. And what is a countenance without its expression? Again, Wordsworth finely and truly calls poetry the breadth and finer spirit of all knowledge. Our religion, parading evidences such as those on which the popular mind relies now, our philosophy, pluming itself on its reasoning about causation and finite and infinite being. What are they but the shadows and dreams and false shows of knowledge? The day will come when we shall wonder at ourselves for having trusted to them, for having taken them seriously, and the more we perceive their hollowness, the more we shall prize the breadth and finer spirit of knowledge offered to us by poetry. But if we conceive thus highly of the destinies of poetry, we must also set our standard for poetry high. Since poetry, to be capable of fulfilling such high destinies, must be poetry of a high order of excellence. We must accustom ourselves to a high standard and to a strict judgment. The best poetry is what we want. The best poetry will be found to have a power of forming, sustaining, and delighting us, as nothing can else. A clear, deeper sense of the best in poetry and of the strength and joy to be drawn from it is the most precious benefit which we can gather from a poetical collection such as the present. The course of development of a nation's language, thought, and poetry is profoundly interesting, and by regarding a poet's work as a stage in this course of development, we may easily bring ourselves to make it of more importance as poetry than in itself it really is. We may come to use a language of quite exaggerated praise in criticizing it, in short, to overrate it. Again, a poet or poem may count to us on grounds personal to ourselves. Our personal affinities, likings, and circumstances have great power to sway our estimate of this or that poet's work, and to make us attach more importance to it as poetry than in itself it really possesses. Because of us it is or has been of high importance. Everything depends on the reality of a poet's classic character. If he is a dubious classic, let us shift him. If he is a false classic, let us explode him. But if he is a real classic, if his work belongs to the class of the very best, then the great thing for us is to feel and enjoy his work as deeply as ever we can, and to appreciate the wide difference between it and all work which has not the same high character. Everything which interferes with it, which hinders it, is injurious. True, we must read our classic with open eyes, and not with eyes blinded with superstition. We must perceive when his work comes short, when it drops out of the class of the very best, and we must rate it, in such cases, at its proper value. But the use of this negative criticism is not in itself It's entirely in its enabling us to have a clearer sense and a deeper enjoyment of what is truly excellent, to trace the labor, the attempts, the weaknesses, the failures of a genuine classic, to acquaint oneself with his time and his life and his historical relationship is mere literary dilettantism, unless it has that clear sense and deeper enjoyment for its end. It may be said that the more we know about a classic, the better we shall enjoy him. Take of Shakespeare a line or two of Henry IV's expostulation with sleep. Wilt thou upon the high and giddy mast seal up the shipboy's eyes and rock his brains in cradle of the rude imperious surge, and take as well Hamlet's dying request to Horatio. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this heart's old draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. Take of Milton that Miltonic passage. Darkened so, yet shone above them all the archangel, but his face deep scars of thunder had entranced, and care sat on his faded cheek. And to such lines as, and courage never to submit or yield, and what is else not to be overcome. These few lines, if we have tact and can use them, are enough even of themselves to keep clear and sound our judgments about poetry, to save us from fallacious estimates of it, to conduct us to a real estimate. The specimens I have quoted differ widely from one another, but they have in common the possession of the very highest poetical quality. If we are thoroughly penetrated by their power, we shall find that we have acquired a sense enabling us, whatever poetry may be laid before us, to feel the degree in which a high poetical quality is present or wanting there. Critics give themselves great labor to draw out what in the abstract constitutes the characters of a high quality of poetry. The characters of a high quality of poetry are what is expressed there. They are far better recognized by being felt in the verse of the master than by being persuaded in the prose of the critic. Nevertheless, if we are urgently pressed to give some critical account of them, we may safely, perhaps, venture on lying down, not indeed how and why the characters arise, but where and in what they arise. They are in the matter and substance of the poetry, and they are in its manner and style. Both of these, the substance and matter on the one hand, and the style and manner on the other, have a mark, an accent of high beauty, worth, and power. But if we are asked to define this mark and accent in this abstract, our answer must be no, for we should thereby be darkening the question, not clearing it. The mark and accent are as given by the substance and matter of that poetry, by the style and manner of that poetry, and of all other poetry which is akin to it in quality. Only one thing we may add as to the substance and matter of a poetry, guiding ourselves by Aristotle's profound observation that the superiority of poetry over history consists in its possession a higher truth and a higher seriousness. Let us add, therefore, to what we have said this, that the substance and matter of the best poetry acquire their special character from possessing, in an eminent degree, truth and seriousness. We may add yet further what is in itself evident, that to the style and manner of the best poetry their special character, their accent, is given by their diction, and even yet more by their movement. And though we distinguish between the two characters, the two accents of superiority, yet they are nevertheless vitally connected one with the other. The superior character of truth and seriousness in the matter and substance of the best poetry is inseparable from the superiority of diction and movement marking its style and manner.